What's up guys, Matt Nash here. Welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be doing a video all about my brand new multi-band distortion plugin called DST. I'm super excited to show you this, guys, because I absolutely love how it sounds. In this video, we're going to be looking at the user interface, the controls, how it sounds, and some presets, and basically giving you guys an in-depth look at it. So let's dive in. Here it is, guys. This is my plugin, DST. It's a multi-band distortion. You've got 4 bands of distortion that you can control independently. You've got 3 different distortion types and a whole host of stuff you can do to really sculpt and get your own sound. So let's start really simply at the beginning. The bottom left, we've got gain, and this is like the input gain for the whole plugin. So just as an example, I've got a really basic saw here and bypassed. You can see there's a little bit of distortion going on already, but just as an example, I'll turn the gain really up. Basically, the more you push, the more you'll initially get distortion without tweaking anything. Next up, we have the knob called Dist, and this is to control the amount of distortion across the whole plugin. So if you have 0 here, the difference coming in. Also, you can see the user interface changing. It's probably my favorite part. And next up, we've got 4 controls here. We've got low, low mid, and high. And these are like output gains per band. So as you can hear, quite simple. You can go pretty drastic with these as well, and that's a really good way to shape your sound. And then you've got output gain, which is just to set, because if you start pushing all of these up, you're going to end up with a lot louder signal and you're going to want to bring it back down. Next up, we have this edit button, and this edit button opens the multi-band editor, and this is where you can really get in there and sculpt that sound. So you have 4 bands here. Pushing these bands up is like the input gain per band. So you can hear it. You're driving a lot more signal in there. And then you can adjust the width of the band. Now this one's really interesting because it really gives you a different tone. These 4 knobs at the bottom are connected to each of these 4 bands. So if you change the frequencies to be like this, for example, then it's going to give you, so then for example, let's say we boost the low now, this is only going to boost from 150 to 400 instead of before boosting 20 to 120. So you can get really creative with this, and if you want some inspiration, you can dive into the presets and you can see some that I've made for you guys. So this is really cool. This is how you will basically get a lot of mileage out of this plugin, is by really playing with these bands. I was super surprised at how many different sounds that you can really get out of this. So if we now close off the edit band, we'll move on to the Dst Types over on the right hand side. Now you have 3 different distortion types here, and they're all individual unique algorithms that apply distortion in a different way. They all have their own different tone and different sound. So the first one is quite subtle. It's the softest, I would say. This is probably more when you're looking for like a subtle distortion, like just fattening up a sound and bringing it up front. The second distortion, a little bit more extreme. You'll notice that the low mids come out quite quickly. Bear in mind, this is not pushing any of the input gains yet, so it's still quite subtle. Lastly, we have the heaviest distortion of the 3, which you can really hear, and it has this really unique top-end ring to it. Of these are a bit soft because we haven't pushed any input gain per band. So I think a good idea now, I'm going to quickly go through the default presets it comes with, so you guys can sort of hear some examples of some different tones just on this basic saw patch. So let's go back to default. This will be what you load up with. And this is one of my favorite patches, purely because when you don't want really heavy distortion on a lead or a bass, this just fattens it up and makes it sound just like ready to go in your track. And still the distortion's quite light on this, so. And without, just as an example. So yeah, that's a nice preset to start with. So you can see on this one, I've really messed about with these different bands, and you can get such a different tone out of it. It's got some crazy low end, so I hope you're listening on some speakers. So you can see on this one, we're not getting anything underneath 80 hertz. So you can do stuff like that by changing the width of the last bands. There you go, another patch, a lot of low end going on. The best keyboard player, but there you go, another cool example of different bands. You know, look, we've completely ducked it out here, just giving you really different tones, great ideas. Love this. This is heavy, really, really sick. This is taking third distortion that's really tough and driving it really hard with the input gains and the output gains as well. And you get a really heavy distortion. Love it. Next up. Really cool notched preset. I love it. It just feels quite mid-focused. This one. Really cool. Again, look, there's some crazy shit going on with the bands, and that's how you're getting these really unique tones. Next up, we've got Overload. Absolutely love it. All right, so look, those are the presets that come with the plugin. Let's quickly talk about how to manage the presets. So these ones are hard-coded, so you can't save over them. So let's say you're going to make a new patch here. We adjust some of the bits on here, different distortion type, etc. And when you click this icon with the save, it creates a new preset. So you can, my preset, you can save it, and then basically that appears at the bottom. And you can delete that if you've made too many or whatever. And you can also rename it as well if you want to change it even. There you go. That's kind of the preset management for it. I think it would be a cool idea now to look at the some other sounds using the plugin, because I've obviously showed you just with the one. All of these sounds will be listed on the website as well, so you can check some before and afters. So let's check these out. Love this. It's just bringing it to life, it's just like brought it right up in your face, a lot of top end out, and it really accentuates the reverb in the sound. All right, next up we have another patch. This is a great example of subtle saturation going on, bringing in top end and bringing the sound up front. Typically in the past, if I've wanted to do this, I've had to use like 10 different plugins to get the same effect. Next up, we've got a really cool one, which I like. So let's check it out. And with. Great example, pushing those low ends. You know, the preset's called low end push for a reason, right? So there you go. And one other little patch that I wanted to include. So that's without and with. It's got that real leave the world behind vibe. So, all right, guys. So hopefully there's a clearer picture of DST for you. Any questions, of course, drop them below and I'll hit you back. A couple of key technical things for you guys to know. It works on pretty much all major DAWs. It's only VST3 and audio unit, so it works for Mac and Windows. It's 64-bit only, and if you're not on 64-bit, you're crazy. All right, guys, so it's 47 euros from the website in the description. I hope you guys go pick up a copy and start making some tunes. And if you are using it, I'd love to hear your music using this plugin because it's inspiring so much music for me, and I hope it does the same for you. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys soon.